Having an exceptional relationship with your spouse affects every single aspect of your life and is crucial for experiencing your dream life together. I'm Rob Murgatroyd.
And I'm Kim Murgatroyd. Listen in on our honest, filter-free conversations as we navigate life and business together without killing each other.
You'll learn by osmosis how to transform the friction you feel in your relationship into a purposeful foundation that will allow you to grow together.
Welcome to the Friday Podcast.
Kimberly, Team Murgatroyd, how are you this morning? What the hell kind of face is that?
I never know what you're going to say, but this one I knew you were going to say it because we're talking about teamwork today in a relationship.
There's lots of things we talk about. I don't start that way.
I know, but I knew it.
You just knew it.
I just knew it. You're not very creative today.
Then you would have known it every time.
No,
you
today.
Haven't.
You're not creative today in your intro.
Just about to talk about what a team player you are, and look at how you're starting this podcast. So listen, full disclosure here. I'm going to use all the words. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be trigger worthy. I'm going to be what are all the words? Let's do a quick word. We should have a section, and it's okay to say these words.
There should be a dictionary.
Let me tell you why it's okay.
We're going to do a very epic trigger worthy.
Hold on. No. Before we do it,
holding space for you.
Hold on.
Let me get my big hat.
My
big hat now.
We're going to do a section of
Hold
this.
on. I just went and got my big hat.
If you think about cursing years ago, Jiminy Crickets was a curse, right? Okay.
How dare you say
If you said Jiminy Cricket, it was like everybody went crazy. But now it's like God knows what an actual real curse is now. But the same thing with words. These words come in and they go out. And it's right now, if you say it, you're like, I don't know if you should say that because you're going to offend somebody. But in 6 months, you're not offending them anymore because now it's just saying groovy. It's just stupid, right? Okay. Yeah. So give me your top 10 words. Let's come up together. Oh my
God, this is not what we're talking about today.
I want to do this.
Okay.
I want to do this.
Right.
Top 10 words that you would like to see out of the lexicon of social media.
Number one, holding space.
Okay, let's go one for one, okay? Holding space is you. For me, it's permission.
Epic.
For me, it's human.
That's a good one. Hold on, let me just scroll my social media.
No, do it without it.
Okay, you go again.
Okay, number 5, going for your birthday, 56 years around the sun. Number 6, container.
This just hits different. 7.
We could also...
Can I put in big hat, red dress?
Big hat, red dress, yeah. Number 9, crying while you're holding the phone.
Oh my God. Videoing yourself crying in a moment of despair so you later can post it.
And if we haven't said it,
10,
it is trigger.
Trigger.
I'm done with trigger.
I know.
We all have fucking triggers.
By the way, how did I get through 40 years of my life without a trigger warning?
But listen, this is not why we're here today.
Sorry.
We're here to talk about...
I think we pretty much just offended every person that listens to the podcast.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. Here is what we're talking about today. We are talking about being a team player.
By the way, this is the worst segue into that. Like
not.
It literally has nothing to do with it.
Who gives a shit? Okay. Listen, when you have a monologue, when Johnny Carson, is he still alive? When Johnny Carson comes out and he does
the last one you watched.
He does a monologue. It's not when he's talking to Dinah Shore.
James Corden actually just retired, and you're still talking about Johnny Carson.
And Dinah Shore.
And Dinah Shore.
Okay, Dinah Shore died in 1984. Okay, so you come from look, I'm going to put my slant on this. Because it's very different.
So wait a minute. We're talking about teamwork in relationships, right? That's what we're talking about.
We're talking about teamwork in relationships. Okay. Yes.
To give them the proper container.
That was epic of you. You're such a human. So
No. You're an amazing human.
You're an epic human.
Epic human. Ooh, I want to be an epic human.
You're an epic human.
It's okay, you guys. You can giggle.
Can you be an epic anything else, by the way? Can you be like an epic android?
Do you know how I know when these words go?
When Sophia says
When Sophia says them.
Our 8-year-olds.
Yeah. The other one she says now is cringe. And she's like, that's so cringe, Mom. I'm like, I can't.
Don't be so janky. Okay. You come from a sports background. You were
raised
a cheerleader,
by a coach.
Right?
I was not a What?
Just fucking.
I'm like not offended by that, but I definitely.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
You were offended by being a cheerleader.
No, I wasn't. Actually, I was a cheerleader. That's not true. I was a cheerleader.
You were?
Yep. When I was a little
girl. Just in the outfit? No,
when I was a little girl, I used to be, my dad was a coach of a high school basketball team. And he had a tiny cheerleading uniform made for me. And I used to go out with his high school cheerleaders and I would cheer with them. And I took it incredibly seriously. Like I knew the cheers and I went out and I did them. And when they did something I didn't know, I laid on my stomach and I put my hands under my chin and I kicked my leg. Or I did cartwheels around them. Yep, I technically was a cheerleader.
You were a cheerleader. You're also a gymnast and
soccer player. And I was raised by a literal coach.
You were raised by
Who was raised by a coach?
You were raised by a professional basketball coach, right? Okay, so here's the thing. You understand the power of working together as a group. I think your personality lends itself to, I think there's nature and nurture here. Like your nurture, as we are discussing, was raised to be around a part of a team. And your nature is, let's do this for the greater good. Let's do this for the power of the team, etc. I was raised in the most selfish environment.
You were raised by wolves.
I was raised by wolves. Like my mother cares about herself. She'll never listen to this. Doesn't matter. She cares about herself. That's it. Where am I going today? What are you buying for me today? Like there was no team. Nobody said we're going to do this together.
There's no for the other people.
There's no for the other people. It was fight or flight. You eat what you kill.
Thing how this not gone out of you.
Yeah.
So the other day we went bike riding with let's call it 4 couples. Okay. So there's 8 people. We stopped. We were bike riding out in Chianti and we stopped for coffee and someone went in and got 4 bottles of water and Rob literally grabbed one of the bottles and drank out of it. Okay. He thought it was just
like
big bottle, like a
bottles.
liter. Yeah. And he just opened it and started drinking from the bottle. And one of the guys goes, where were you raised? In a barn? And I was like, yeah. So I've learned not to fight it. And it's not even shocking to me anymore.
Yeah. I don't have couth,
You don't have
there's no couth.
You don't have like, oh, there's 4 bottles and 8 people we're sharing.
No.
Like God.
God, no. That thought, actually, it didn't enter my mind until you just said it. Like I still didn't think of it. I was like, what did they do wrong?
Oh my God. No. So Rob was definitely not raised. Actually, when I met you, you were like, look, you choose your own path in life. And if you're not successful, that's on you and nothing, you can't like lean on anybody for anything. And like you had you're in this by yourself way to go. And Rob calls me for the other people. And like, we'll be doing something and we'll go to a restaurant. Okay. Tell them what I do in a restaurant.
I can't because it's going to make my blood boil because I can't.
But tell them so they understand.
Stand it.
Tell them what I do.
So we'll go to a restaurant and there may be, let's say there's 3 tables that are available. Okay. And the person will sit us down at the table. And then the other 2 tables will then soon be taken by other people, making the restaurant full. Then there'll be a queue that will form behind us of maybe a family or 2 families 20 to 30 minutes after we've eaten. She'll say, let's get the bill. And I'll say, I want to finish my wine, or I might want to get another glass of wine. No, there's people behind us. I don't give a fuck that there's people behind us. I'm a paying customer in this restaurant. No, Rob, I can't, we have to get out of here. I'm sitting down eating. No. They're waiting to get into the restaurant. I don't give a fuck that they're waiting to get into the restaurant. I'm going to drink my wine. That thing has 97 different formations in your life. If someone is walking on the street and trying to pass me, you will take me, push me up against a steel building, smash my head in the ground as hard as you could because someone is trying to pass around me.
That's not true.
I want you to know.
I would never.
Okay, I want you to notice. Here's what I want you to notice.
I would physically move you, but I will not injure you.
I want you to notice. I want you to remember this, okay? Because that was recorded. I want you to notice the aggressive physical nature you have. Let me finish. The aggressive physical nature you have. If I am in the way of another person, you will physically push me off balance. Okay, you're laughing? You're laughing. I want you to watch how you manhandle me in the street if I am blocking anybody from anything. And oh, by the way, we live on a street that doesn't even have fucking sidewalks, doesn't even have a street, so nobody can even walk on it. So you push me off of the tightrope because whatever's behind me, there's some truck pulling in, some guy, like I'm being mugged. You'll push
Oh
me.
my God.
You'll push me. I want you to
You are so
dramatic.
dramatic.
I want you to watch how you manhandle me.
Oh my God. You are such a drama queen. You are the epitome of drama queen. I will gently guide you.
Gently guide. There is no gentle or guiding.
Hold on a second. I'm going to get our child.
All right, Sophia, we need your opinion.
Okay.
Give her
Come
half
here.
an ear, bud.
Come here.
So
Hold on. No. Because you will lead the witness.
Oh, like you're not?
Sophia, when we're walking down the street with Daddy and there are people that are trying to get by him, does Daddy care that there are people behind him?
What do you mean?
Like if there are people walking behind him trying to get by, does Daddy move out of the way?
No.
Does Mommy say, there's people behind you?
No, I say it.
Oh, you say it.
Yeah.
Does Mommy manhandle Daddy and throw him out of the way aggressively?
Probably.
Yes, thank you very much.
Hold on. Have you ever seen it? You just said probably. It's a yes or no question, ma'am.
I haven't seen it, but I feel
Exactly.
like you would.
Okay, hold on. Sophia, if I'm walking down the street and somebody's in the way, will Mommy take her hands and push me out of the way so somebody can pass?
I would say yes.
Yes.
Is it gentle?
Probably not.
Okay, Sophia, your work is done here. She did it. It's over.
Hold on. If we're eating dinner and we're done dinner and I say there's a lot of people, we got to go, does Daddy dig his heels in and say, no, I'm staying just to make a point?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Exactly.
Listen, I've never seen
I've
it
never
before.
seen that either.
Oh my God.
I've never seen it either.
You turned on me.
Okay.
You turned on me.
Okay, it's done.
No.
Thank you, Sophia.
All right.
Thank you so much.
I'll just stay.
Now you want to
Now
stay.
you
I
want to
wanna
stay.
stay.
All right.
All right.
We'll do the next episode with you, okay? Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you,
All right.
Sophia.
So I think we're both half right in this. Anyway,
Did you just hear what your child said?
She said you won't get out of the way. You
Oh
will
my God.
purposely
Okay.
not get out of the way for people. And so if I have to physically move you,
Now you're acknowledging that if in the necessity, if the situation warrants it, madam, answer the question, judge permission to
I will physically
Judge,
move
permission
you,
to
but
treat-
I don't do it aggressively.
permission to treat the witness as
I
hostile,
do not
Judge.
do it. I do not do it. She's literally sitting and watching this go down now. All right. So let's go back to teamwork. Okay.
All right.
So I don't even know how we got off on this tangent.
Doesn't
but-
matter.
No, but it does matter. Here's the thing, because you're not a team player. That's why.
Right.
And I am. So I am always looking for the other people. I am a team player. I'm looking around going, like today, I saw that your glasses were outside. You're always losing your glasses. So I sent you a message and I said, just in case you think you lost them, here they are. You would literally never do that for me. You wouldn't notice the glasses were there. You would not send me a text thinking in advance that I could be stressed about something because you're you. And you do just you, right? Yeah, this is what it is now. This is therapy. Welcome to your therapy session, okay? I'm going to bring in Dr. Schmally, and he's going to be here. So
I thought we were going to round the corner to
We are
my
rounding.
behavior was bad and now it's better. It
is better.
Sounds like it's still not so good.
It is better. So when we first got together, you were so not any part of a team player. And I'll give you the biggest one.
So I was a complete dick in the beginning. Now I'm just a little bit of a dick?
Yeah, exactly. And so glad to see self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
So, no, when we first got together, we were trying to figure each other out, trying to navigate this new relationship. We also got custody of a young child early in our relationship. So, like, you want to talk about in the first 2 years of our fresh, brand new relationship where I'm in my 20s and you're in your 30s, and we get custody of a 6-year-old. Like, there's so many circumstances there. Talk about a pressure cooker, right? And we were working together. We were trying to figure out our relationship, our working relationship, raising a kid together. And it all just dumped on kind of at one time. So we had to figure things out. And especially if we were working together, raising a family together, and that requires teamwork. But seeing as you were not a team player in the time, you used to basically just give me a checklist, which was not a very team thing to do. It was more like a dictator thing to do. Dictator.
I knew you were going to
Yeah.
take that.
Sorry. So we had to do some work. And so in those first couple of years, we really had to dig in and do a lot of personal development in the lane of relationship.
But I have to tell you, Kimberly.
What did I do wrong this time?
No, you didn't do anything
Okay.
wrong. I have to tell you that if I'm being honest with you, for the first 10 years of you really just like slowly starting to like whisper you're not a team player to eventually hitting me over the head with a frying pan,
shoving you into the street with a bus.
Well, you shove me out of the way of a bus often, but it's,
Thank God,
it's
you'd
up
be
against
dead.
the building. I want you to.
Would you want the bus or the building?
I would say for the better part of 10 years, I did not fully understand what you were talking about that I wasn't a team player because I didn't know what a team player was.
Right.
I understand the idea. I'm not a fucking idiot. I understand like you're working together.
You're also like, I don't have a
you're
basketball.
working together as a team. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, is this some like basketball metaphor she's talking about? Like, are we supposed to like squad goals? Are we going to like sit around and like go put our hands in a circle and go kumbaya or whatever it is? Like, I didn't understand what you meant. And it wasn't until
I'm going to write down the moment that you realized it, and I'm going to see if I was right. Go ahead. Say it.
I would say marriage counseling.
What did I write
Therapist.
down?
Yeah.
What did the therapist say to us?
She said we were having a lot of challenges with raising co-parenting. Yeah. With Demi coming from a different marriage and raising her and all the things that Kim just mentioned. And so we decided to see a therapist to see if we can figure it out. Cause like we really like, we get along just like this, except for that fucking thing.
I'm going to be really honest here. And I don't talk about a lot of stuff from that section of our life on here because I don't find it fair to all the parties involved. So I'm just going to talk about our portion. I hit a point in our marriage God, this had to be 5 years, 6 years in, I'd say, maybe 6 or 7 years in, where I hit a point and I said, I love you so much and I can't do this anymore. So we either need to go to therapy or we need to get a divorce. And it was stemming from this team player thing. And it wasn't like, you're not a team player, I want a divorce. I didn't know the words yet to put into that. There was just so much of our relationship was so amazing. But this one section of parenting was killing me.
How the awareness of the team player came in sort of in a backdoor way for me. Backdoor making with backdoors. I know you really are a 16-year-old boy. Now I can't. Now I got the picture of that in my head, and I can't.
I'm a child.
The way it came in for me was when we were talking to the therapist. Number one, she said exactly what you had been saying to me. So it wasn't like sometimes you'll say something, but then when somebody else says it too, you're like, okay, right. It hits different, right? If she's saying it and she's saying it, chances are the common denominator here is me or whatever. That was one. And two was what she did was she gave me a principle and she gave me examples. And she said, look, when Demi is doing something like this, you let her know that you guys work together as a team. So you're going to discuss it with Kim and then you guys together will answer her. And for whatever the reason was, that stuck with me because I had never thought of it that way. I thought Kim has her way she's going to handle this. I have my way I'm going to handle this. And hopefully we're just not going to fight over it. So it wasn't until the therapist said to me, like, look, when this happens with Demi, just let her know, okay, I'm going to talk about it with Kim because we work together as a team. It was the first time that she created an identity where she said, your identity as a couple is that you're a team. Mm-hmm. Like I can get emotional.
I'm pretty sure she said we were going to war and it was you and I against the opposition.
I can actually get emotional about this because what the visual that I saw was you and I united, locked arms, arm in arm with each other, saying we are together going to raise this child and we're going to make a joint decision based on discussion. And we're not going to allow the inmates to run the asylum. And that was the first step in me starting to say, it wasn't even like, if you look like who's right and who's wrong, you were right, I was wrong. Whatever, right? What the fuck does that mean? Like what matters is why didn't I get it? I didn't get it because I was raised differently. I didn't get it because I was guilty about like getting divorced and putting her in the situation. So I was overcompensating. You were more of a team player. Your dad was a basketball coach. You were around. All of those things don't matter. What matters is that you and I were able to say, look, we got a really fucking good marriage here. And 99% of the things that we encounter with each other on a daily basis, we can't wait to do together. We can't wait to have conversations. We can't wait to have a glass of wine together. We can't wait to travel together. We love so many things to do together, but this one fucking thing. And, but that one thing, I saw how that one team player thing started to show up in other things like business. And, you know, me going, this is my way, I'm doing it. And then going, no, hold on a second. And now I think for the team, at least I'm trying
you
to
do.
anyway.
No, you do. The things like the water or whatever is obviously true and a joke. That's just who you are. It just is what it is. The thing I think that really helped us too was when we did Strengthsfinder, because now imagine this, right? We're raising a preteen female with a family with a lot of baggage and history and complications. So you add preteen, teenager, family history, complications, all of that into a very emotional pile of crazy. Then you have two people not working as a team to raise that. Then once we did Strengthsfinder and we saw that your harmony was so high, meaning you just wanted everyone to get along. And that's what you said over and over. I just want everyone to get along. I just want everyone to get along. And I will do anything. I will buy you something to make you stop crying. I will do anything to just make this go away. And my top, or in my top 5, is command. And so if I don't see anything being done to fix the problem, I'm going to step in and fix the problem on my own. Because if no one else is doing it and no one's going to fight with me in war, then I'm going to just handle it. And so our strengths were playing out against each other. And once we also uncovered and realized each other's strengths, weaknesses, and blind spots, we've talked about this before in previous podcasts, I think it becomes so much easier for me to look and go, okay, Rob, I know that you really want harmony, but I really need to correct this problem. And so let's work together to correct a problem in a way that feels good to you and good to me.
Do you think that people are attracted to each other because of the opposite strength?
I think that we balance each other out, because if we were both high in command, it wouldn't work in our relationship. If we were both high in strategy, that would be
boring.
that would be boring.
Or both high in harmony.
Yeah. And so I think that the fact that we bring different strengths to the table is important.
But do you think there's an attraction there? In other words, do you think that your command, because actually I'm thinking about it, and the strength that I saw in you was actually very attractive for me.
Yeah, because you needed that.
I needed that.
And I probably need a bit more harmony. You like how I said that? Because I can't commit to
you
that.
You couldn't even get that out.
I couldn't. It's my number 34. It's literally 34.
Actually, like you tripped up. You were like, I probably.
I understand it logically, not emotionally. So the point is teamwork, doing things and figuring out how to work together as a team is incredibly important. And, you know, that therapist, we literally had 2 sessions with her and she said, look,
don't come back.
She said, don't come back.
Yeah.
You guys are good. You just need to work as a team. That's all you need to do. And because when most people sit in therapy and complain about each other, we actually sat in therapy and talked about what we loved about each other and supported each other. And it was the most weird therapy session ever, but she gave us what we needed, which was be a united front.
Yeah, it was really powerful.
And so we do that now, but I think that there are some strategies. So again, we always go back now to your needs are my needs, and we do the best we can to come from that place of your needs are my needs. And so Rob knows that I like to go for long walks. And so he now wants to go for long walks too. We have a little kid, so we can't just leave her and walk together every day. I go on Sundays, and you said, I'm going to wake up early and go for my walk because I don't want to disrupt yours. That's massive growth for you in being a team player, because you could just take my slot and not care about it. But
see?
I know.
In the end,
and
look,
that's what I'm telling you.
Look at me.
So your needs are my needs. The second thing is Strengthsfinder. I will say this: 400 ways to Sunday. It's $30. Go and take the Gallup Strengthsfinder, get all 34 strengths, have your spouse do the same, and then sit and talk about all of the ones in your top, let's call it 10, and the ones that are in your bottom 10. Because it's so important to know each other's strengths, know the blind spots, identify them for yourself, because I think we can judge. I think a lot of lack of teamwork comes from not realizing the strengths of your partner. And so you're like, you're not doing it the way I would do it. Therefore, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and I have to say this too. A lot of times people will say to me, oh, I've done Myers-Briggs and there's like 12 of these things.
Yeah.
I've done them all.
Mhm.
I really have. Like,
I know my color. I know my Enneagram. I know my...
The Enneagram is
I know all of my shit.
I got to tell you, I've done them all, and they all have value. They're all extremely insightful. Reason why this one works for me is because it literally puts in order only your strengths in order of priority. So it forces you to say, not forces you, it encourages you to say, let me lean into these strengths and let me also understand the blind spot that each of these strengths have. 1, 2, it also allows you to see that your partner, who you've been screaming about, that is doing this thing that makes you mad, when you look and you go, oh shit, she does this or he does this because it's his number one fucking strength. Like, I have a friend, I had a conversation the other day with a buddy of mine, and he's like one of the smartest guys I know, and his number one was analytical. And I went, oh God, that makes sense. His entire fucking lens of every conversation I have is analysis. He analyzes everything. Guess what? As with all strengths, there's a downside to it, right? You analyze everything. Stop analyzing everything. Once you know that, you go to that guy and go, oh, you're the analytical guy. Can you figure this out?
And the last thing that I think is really great, and so that you use, I know, with your coaching clients, and it's actually a blind spot of one of my strengths. So one of my strengths is strategy, and I like to fix problems. I can't help myself. When someone has a problem, like I can watch a TikTok and someone's explaining a problem and I'm strategizing how to fix their problem. Like, I can't control this beast. And what I've learned is sometimes people want to vent and they don't want a strategy to fix their problem. I truly don't understand it. I'm going to be honest and say, I don't understand why you would ever have a problem that you don't want help with or you don't want fixed. I can't get it. And I've learned that's the case. And so I've accepted that's the case. But so what I learned, and this was so powerful for me and my best friend, and it leads to what I'm going to let you talk about, is my best friend, she will come to me with a problem. And before we both took the Strengthsfinder and found out what each other's strengths are, it used to drive her crazy. She would come to me with a problem and I would offer solutions. And she was like, what the fuck? Like, I can't just come to you and vent. Like, why do you have to try to solve everything? And I truly don't comprehend why you wouldn't want a solution to something. But I learned in Strengthsfinder, that's a blind spot. Sometimes people don't want a solution and they just want you to hear them. And she learned that because one of my top strengths is strategy, that I can't help it. And so she's more patient with me in the strategy. And in return, when she says, I need to vent about something, so she knows now to come to me and say, I need to vent. And when she says that, that's my acknowledgement of she does not want a solution. Or if she doesn't say that, I ask one question. Is this something you want to vent about, or do you want me to help you fix the problem? And she appreciates that. And most of the time she's like, you know what? I wanted to vent, but I got it out and now I want help. And so that helped my relationship with just my best friend, like on such a powerful level. I know it's helped with me and you. And I know you use this kind of thing. Can you explain what you do with your coaching clients?
Let me say this at the onset before I explain it. I had a patient early on in my career who was a psychiatrist. And I'm just such a curious guy and I'm always asking questions. And so every time he came in, I would just ask him another question. And he said something that really struck me, and I think it's relevant to this conversation. He said, sometimes people just need to have a friend that says, isn't it awful? And I said, what do you mean? And I know that's killing you. And I said, what do you mean? He said, when you're going through something and it's inside of you, there's an energy that's inside of you. You have a fight with your wife, you have a fight with your kids, you have a fight with a coworker. There's something that's inside of you. You need, as a human being, you need empathy, and you need somebody to hear you, and you need to feel validated. You need to get it off your chest. And there's a literal energy that comes out of you and into the other person, where you can put your head on their chest and say, isn't it terrible? And the idea of isn't it terrible is for them to say, I hear you and I'm connected to you and I know that this is hurting you and I know that this is hard. It's an empathy play. It's not logic. You're strong with logic and you're strong with strategy. So for you, you're looking at me like this makes no sense. Why would I ever do it? The reason to do it is to connect as a human being and not to solve. Okay, so that's the pre-frame. To answer the strategy that I'll use with clients, I don't have an exact strategy that I use with everybody, but I know the question you're asking. And one of the things that I'll do is when somebody is really like overchunked, where they feel like they've got like 1,000 things that are on their mind. I'm upset with my wife. I'm upset with my kids. I'm upset with the workers. I'm upset, blah, 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 blah. I have them list it. And they go, oh, I will be here all day. I got time. Go ahead. And they start listing it. Invariably, I've never gotten a list more than 10 or 12 things, ever. And those 10 or 12 things generally fall into two categories. One is where they just need to perhaps listen to another person, or two, they actually need to take some action on it. And so I have them look, and it's usually if it's like an interpersonal thing where they're upset with their child and they're like, I can't believe that my kid is whatever. I will have them look at it, or they're upset with their child over something, or they're upset with a coworker. They're saying something like, my coworker just doesn't understand. And I'll have them just literally mirror back to the person at work and say, so I just want to make sure I understand what you're upset about is XYZ. Did I get that right? And just the act of letting that person know that you heard, whether you agree with it or not doesn't matter. Just letting them know that you understand what they're saying to you, like, will kill it by 80%, because the other person will then go in the non-defensive position and go like, yes, I'm just trying to say that, and so the heat comes down. Then there's the other strategy. The other strategy is, okay, your wife is saying you're working all the time, you're never home. That's not something to listen to. That's something perhaps to take action on. So I have them separate it between the two. The first principle is it's not as many things as you think. The second principle is some of them you act on and some of them you don't. And the third principle is, I don't know. That's it. Two principles.
That was it. I had an aha in in what you were saying about empathy and stuff, which, by the way, is also really low on my list. Don't confuse empathy and sympathy, because I can feel bad for people in situations. I just don't take on their energy. And when you were talking about it and you were saying, like, isn't it awful? That commiseration kind of thing. I had an aha. I wasn't raised with that. And when I had a problem, it was either suck it up, buttercup, or walk it off, very athletic, like walk it off, which is why when I have problems, I like to go for a walk, because I think I'm walking it off. Something just dawned on me. The things that rattle around in my brain that bother me are the things I can't find a solution to. And so if something happens, like yesterday, I had a tiff with a man in the street with the bracelet and the whole thing. To give context, there are people that try to kind of scam you in Florence, where they try to give you something for free, but then they follow you and harass you for money and basically don't leave until you give them the money. And some of them are kind and some of them are not kind. Some of them you can say no thank you and they walk away, and others are aggressive. And this one felt aggressive to me. And so I stepped in, and he was giving it to a child, and I said, no, please take this back. Please take this back. And then I went and I put it back in his bag, and he got super aggressive with me, almost to the point where I thought he was going to hit me, to be honest. And it was heavy on me all day. You know why it was heavy? Because there's no solution. I can't solve anything in that problem. I can't, like, my brain was going all day, and I was like, how could we get these people off the street from doing these bracelets and give them a job? Like, I literally all day was trying to solve for this problem, because I understand his issue. He came here as an immigrant, probably on one of these boats that's capsizing, and like, it's a terrifying thing. He makes no money. And so I'm over here trying to solve a problem instead of probably having empathy for the situation or whatever. But the problems, what I'm realizing in the aha is that I don't have, number one, like I would never come to you and be like, can you commiserate with this situation? I'm more, and maybe that would help if you were like, yeah, these people are aggressive, you did the right thing or whatever. Like maybe that would help if you said that. I don't know. But which I actually think you did say that, but I can't find a solution. And so it rattles my brain incessantly because I literally can't find a solution. That's interesting because I don't have that natural commiseration chip. Like my best friend says, you don't call me to commiserate because what's my nickname?
Your nickname is The Good News Is.
Yeah. So that's not someone you want to commiserate with because there's nothing worse than someone calling you the problem and going, oh, the good news.
You know, look,
and by the way, I know that about myself.
Here's the thing, right? So if you say, commiseration, you would be right that if somebody says, isn't it awful, that they're commiserating with you. But the isn't it awful, put quotes in it.
Yeah.
What they're really saying with the isn't it awful is, I know that's upsetting you.
Yeah.
And I know that's hard for you.
Yeah.
And so
I can do that.
The isn't it awful is not to jump on the commiseration bandwagon about how awful life is. It's more to say when somebody's like, I can't fucking believe that my wife did this to me when I had to go. I had the call. I just asked her for this and she didn't do the thing. And you go like, that fucking sucks, dude. And then the person feels heard and it's out. Perhaps step one in some instances is to connect in that way. And then there's, Tony Robbins calls it like future pacing. I forgot what he calls it, but basically where they are, and then you can move them. And then you can say, but if you didn't always lose your keys, she might not always be mad at you. Do you know what I mean? But if you started with that, then you're defensive.
Yeah, see, I don't have that chip. Even when you're telling this fictitious story of what I was like,
you still want to fix it.
I want to fix it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't give me the problem in it.
Well, this is the thing with Strengthsfinders. When you have a strength, you just assume that everybody looks at it that way.
Yeah.
And it's not just you doing that. I look at it through, like, my number one is futuristic. I look at it going like, how do you not fucking see the future? With this goal, it's about like always having a vision for something. I look at it and we had just landed in California after being in Italy for 3 months. And I was like, all right, let's make a vision. And you're like, for 25 years, you've wanted a fucking vision to move to California. The day we get to California, you want to make the next vision? I'm like, yeah, why? You're like, that's retarded. Like, just enjoy the moment that you're in. But is my number one strength. It is oxygen for me to have a future.
It is. And it's good for you to understand the negative part of that, right? The downside. And it's good for me to understand that it is your number one so we can work together as a team in a more efficient way, Well,
listen, our time is up here. So we'll be back next Tuesday at 7:30.
With Dr. Schmeckel?
Yes. Do you have your Blue Cross Blue Shield card with you? And can you give it to Myrtle on the way out,
Well,
please?
I hope this was helpful, if not entertaining.
All right. Listen, God bless America. God bless you, and have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. Hey, everybody, if you've ever thought about coming to hang out with Kim and I on one of our next Rob and Kim Italia events and you want to learn more, just click the Rob and Kim Italia link in the show notes and add your name and email, and we'll send you all the details as soon as they're available. We are obsessed with this country and how it affects you, and we want to share that magic of culture, food, wine, art, architecture, and some secret magic moments that we've cooked up with you. So be sure to add your name because these events sell out quickly.